Hey, what's up, guys? Good to be back with you. And here we have it, the big one. This is us taking on the first place team, Ilaoa and To'omata. And let's see what we can do. Let's see how this team plays. We have been on a good run lately. Let's see if we can go out there and keep it up. And let's see what happens here. We do have Ikuvalu back in goal. And they have, of course, not lost at all this season. 11 straight victories for them, and they're the home team. Now, in the press leading up to this match, we were actually slight favorites to win. So we'll see what that actually means. I am not certain about that. And yes, Maele will be the key man here today. The commentator at the bottom is saying that he thinks that PanSa East FC are going to win this match. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm not sure that I'm necessarily that confident in our abilities. So let's see what happens. And we, once again, are in red and white. And this ball is just sort of lumped over the top for nobody, as is usually the case. We've seen a lot of that happen. So let's see if we can get this ball back and make something happen. Now, they have an excellent defense. It's probably one of the best defenses in the league. And I'm not so sure if our sort of modern build-it-up type approach is going to do well against them, because things like that will happen. Tualalele loses possession far too easily, and this leads to a great save by Ikuvalu. And he was the offensive player was offside anyway, Fauga, but that was a little scary. Moe with the throw into Ledu, back to Moe, who lumps that one forward as a cross, doesn't find anyone. Topui with it. Topui moves this up himself and is sort of lumped on over, and that's almost a goal. That was deflected, and that was a pretty ridiculous attempt by the keeper to try to save that one. Tualalele finds Maele to Ledu, and it's taken away, but he was offside anyway. It was pretty easy to see, and not much is happening so far in this one, and we need a win. A draw doesn't really do it. If this is a draw, then we're in trouble. Seleni, and then, of course, if this is a loss, then I need to find a different job in game. Moe with the shot, and that one misses just about everything. So we'll see what happens as we move forward. About 30 minutes into this match now, and really not too much going on. Moe here with the throw over to Maele. Maele to Ledu back to Moe. Moe will find Maele, and he just takes a shot. That one is deflected and is behind for a corner. And so we'll see if we can hit this corner or not. And it's Ledu who's going to take it. He steps back and fires, and can't quite find anybody. This is a counterattack opportunity for them. And fortunately for us, their striker looks like he came up lame and may have had to come off after that one. So we weren't able to see in the highlight exactly what happened at the other end of that. Poor match so far from Fao Danielson, looking at our numbers with his 6.4. And here is our keeper making another poor decision. Instead of knocking the ball short like I tell him to, he knocks it long. We may have to go back and look at that again and make sure that the instructions are what they should be. There's Fao Danielson easily giving up possession, which is a problem. And that's a really, really poor defensive effort, and that should have been a goal. And that shook the mouth of the goal about as hard as possible. And we're a little bit concerned. I can see the players for them warming up and jumping up on the sidelines. I thought that was me jumping up with rage. And that's going to be a corner there for them. And so let's see if we can continue to defend this. It's going to be Coulter here taking this corner, knocks this one forward. Fortunately, we're able to head it out just barely, and it's Seleni who's able to grab it over to Fao Danielson. Fao Danielson moves up over to Maele. Maele down to Tualalele. Tualalele to Ledu, and he does what he usually does. He hesitates a little bit too long. Tualalele up to Seleni. Seleni lumps this one forward for Chris Famoana. And he easily and calmly grabs the ball and shoots it and scores, and it's 1-0 for PanSa East FC right on the brink of halftime. Famoana scores the goal. I think it's probably against the run of play here, and it's 1-0 for us, and he is just onside, and that's the way that we like to do it. A little bit of build-up, and then just that little bit of counter-attacking play, and the lump-it-forward approach you always see in these amateur leagues, 1-0 for us, and hopefully we can ride this one on into halftime. And it's Topui with the ball. Topui moves it up slowly over to Fao Danielson. Fao Danielson down to Seleni. Seleni with it over to Famoana. To Tualalele. Tualalele back to Seleni. Seleni over to Maele. Finds Famoana, and that's number 2. And 2-0 for PanSa East FC. No, they're going to call that offside, and I have to protest, I think. I wish that I had a way of arguing this, because he's onside. I swear he's onside. Unfortunately, the game doesn't give you that opportunity. It used to be in the old days of Football Manager that at the end of the match, if there was a really ridiculous offside call, you could complain to the press about it and risk being fined. I'm not certain, though, that you can do much of that now. I think that may have been taken away. Ken Coulter going to come on here for Fawa Danielson, who's not having a great match. And let's see what we can do to hold on to this one. 1-0 for PanSa East FC. Over to Palipua. Palipua with the ball. Over down to Topui. Topui looks for Twala Lele, who somehow gets to that one. That was risky. It's passed up to Maele, and unfortunately, Toa just not quite fast enough. If he had a little bit more pace, he would have gotten to that one. I tell you, Maele is going to be a great player if we stay here and if we can continue to develop him. He has all of the markings of a great player. Might be one to move on no matter where we go after this. Chris Fa'amoana ends up grabbing this ball, and he passes up to Seleni. Seleni back to Fa'amoana. Over to Topui. Topui with it, and finds Seleni over to Maele, back to Topui. Topui knocks this one forward for Fa'amoana, who's beaten the defense, and he lumps one forward, and it's deflected twice, and it's Roy Ledoux who comes from out of nowhere and who grabs that rebound, knocks it in. 2-0 for PanSa East FC. We can breathe a little bit easier now, I would say. About 50 minutes here into the match, and we're up 2-0. And this is a little bit better than what I thought was going to happen. I was really worried about this. I thought for sure that we were going to find ourselves behind early on. It's not quite over yet, but 50 minutes into the match with a 2-0 advantage is a lot better than the last time we played against them. And this is the highest number of goals that this team has given up, I think, this season. I don't think they may have given up 2 in another match at some point in time. I know that they haven't given up more than that. You can watch that video from yesterday afternoon and figure out exactly what I said and exactly what we saw. Twala Lele tries to lump this forward, can't quite find anybody, and it's Kaleopa there for them with the attack. Fetuao ends up being on the other end of that, tries to lump it forward, and it's Ledoux who grabs it over to Fa'amoana. Knocks it backwards as he should, tries to slow it down a little bit. Seleni, and we've established possession here. Here's Ken Coulter, and he passes over to Topui. Topui with it, crossing position, and crosses it forward over to Maele, and that should have been a goal. That should have been 3. That should have been 3 right there. That was a great cross from Maele. This is very, very well done from Topui. And Topui is one who I was a little bit worried about trying to start him, and Maele just needs to get his head, get that one with his forehead instead of the top of his head, and then he's fine. So still 2-0 PanSa East FC. We're about an hour into the match, and see what we can do. Palipua looks tired, but I'm going to keep him out there. We got to ride our horses to the finish. And let's see if we can defend against this set play, and we can. Ledoux with it and knocks it over for Fa'amoana. I'm not quite sure what he's trying to do because Fa'amoana is not in any sort of position to be behind the defense. That was really, really ugly for us. Ikuvalu does the right thing by throwing it over to Palipua, over to Seleni now, down to Topui. Topui lumps this forward, and he finds Fa'amoana behind the defense. And here he goes, and he scores. And he makes it look easy. Number 7 of the season for Fa'amoana. It's 3-0 PanSa East FC. 2 goals here for Fa'amoana. Should have been 3, really. That should have been his hat trick because we had one taken away for no good reason. And he just makes us look so easy. I mean, the entire team is running after him. And nobody can get to it. Nobody can stop him. Finds that 8-hole and scores. And it's 3-0 for PanSa East FC. Here we are on defense, actually. Fetuao finds it over to Maele, over to Ledoux on the left side. Twala Lele now to Maele, who finds Ken Coulter. Ken Coulter will cross it, and it goes over to Maele, who has a good shot on it, forcing a good block by their keeper. And so this is the reason why we have 2 strikers instead of having the shadow striker. And it's Amisone who can't quite get off onto that the other end of that corner, and that will end that highlight. About 20 minutes here to go, and I think that we've got it. I think that we're going to end up 3 points behind them. Now the question is, are we going to win everything from here on out? Are they going to lose again? Will it happen, or is this just a little bit too little too late from us? 15 minutes to go now. Here's Roy Ledoux. Roy Ledoux over to Twala Lele, and it's passed back to Ledoux, over to Twala Lele again, Fa'amoana over to Seleni. And Seleni takes a shot, which is probably not what he should be doing. He should be looking to try to support and pass. And let's see what happens here with Roy Ledoux, who knocks this corner up and forward, looking for Fetuao, I think it was. Amisone ends up grabbing it over to Twala Lele, and we've reset it. And that was their player, Seleni, who headed that back to the keeper. That was almost an own goal. That was very, very close to being an own goal, and a really, really risky move by their defender. Fetuao was able to win this one here, but doesn't quite hit it right, and they have it ready for a counterattack. And I think that we have more than enough players back to see this one off. Let's see if we can get the ball off of them, though. And it's passed around and around, and Ikuvalu just sort of stands there in the right place, able to make the block, grabs the ball, and holds on to the clean sheet so far. Here's Ledoux here for another corner. Steps back and fires. And he just cannot find whoever it was he was looking for there. I'm not quite sure whose name that was. I didn't have a really good look at that one. And this is going to wind up being back with them for another sort of a counterattack, but it's not really much of one. We've gotten back pretty well here on defense, at least we had for a while, and then it's Takai Fa'aoga who finally winds up scoring his goal, and that's a pretty frustrating one to give up because we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys back in defense, and then we have this guy right here, Palipua, who is who it is, who runs completely out of position. I'm not sure what he's trying to do. Doesn't know whether he's coming or going, doesn't know what position he's playing. And, I mean, really, really foolish decision. I know there are a lot of people on the SI forums who criticize Football Manager for doing stuff like that. But the truth is, at this level, you got to expect that you're going to have players who are going to make stupid mistakes. That was a pretty dumb mistake. I'm not sure where that throw was supposed to go. Coulter with this one. And, boy, that's almost a goal by Ken Coulter. Oh, man. So it's okay. We do make mistakes from time to time, but sometimes we also are the beneficiaries of some really interesting random things that happen, like Ken Coulter almost knocking in a goal from the middle of nowhere. It's Krishna here for there, over to Lilo, and fortunately for us, it's Amisone who's able to get onto that one. 3 more minutes left. Let's see if we can hold on. This should be the last throw of the game. Topui throws it to the correct direction. And this is going to end up being with them, but it's all over by the shouting, I'm sorry to say. Krishna here is going to try to make it 3-2, and that was really poor from Ikuvalu. Comes way, way out of the box, and so this is going to end up being a close one, and it does look like they might be mounting a comeback, and we have to hold on here for this last one. Ikuvalu had a decision to make: you stay back or you go forward, and so he decided to go forward, which I think was the wrong one. And you can see as the players run through him, it'd be nice to see the graphics engine updated at some point in time so players stop walking through each other like that, but whatever. What do I know about computers? And that is the end of it. We win 3-2. It was a match that we frankly dominated 60+% of the possession, 2.30 XG, still gave up 2 goals. So we do need some help on defense. 2 really close matches in a row, and I'm hopefully going to be able to sleep a little bit better at night knowing that we're only 3 points behind. 1 more loss by them and we'll at least be tied, and I don't know, there might be a chance. Maybe we can pull this one off in the end. See you tomorrow. Bye.